HEX is really oversold. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure that one out, right? But what I want you to learn today is how I use relative value to show you the extreme oversold nature of things, friends. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you that HEX is doing worse than FTX victims and Celsius victims and Luna victims. That's right. I've made many posts to show you when I go through the proof, but I've got to warn you as well. There are soy boys that'll hear this and they'll start crying in the corner. They'll get upset. They go, FUD, FUD, FUD. I just move them out to the side. I'm just here to tell you, markets can go lower than you think and higher than you think. Maybe there's glory waiting for us on the other side. Maybe there is. But I'm here to tell you as well, if HEX is so deeply undervalued like this, perhaps there is also opportunity awaiting us in Icosa and Hedron, right? We're waiting for Alex Magic Beads update. Could be around the corner. We don't know what he's cooking up, okay? So I'm just showing you, if HEX is deeply undervalued, Richard Hart, the billionaire, likes buying his own coin, perhaps Icosa, the leverage on HEX, smaller market cap, and expanding the HEX universe, maybe that will actually give you a mega moonshot too. I don't know. Not financial advice, okay? But first, let me just show you right now. So the HEX price chart, friends, there's a lot of like discrepancy. People like, hey, do we count eHEX or not? All you can do is, friends, you can just look at pHEX, okay? Richard wants to delete eHEX and everyone wants to pretend it doesn't exist. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter how you spin it. This is basically pHEX, okay? You are down 98.6%. Like, yeah, absolutely. Pretty much, you basically got crushed beyond imagination. Richard Hart's Unity tweets to go into pHEX, you're down 78% from that alone, okay? So adoption, not talking too crash hot. So what I'm going to show you is the resistance zones for HEX. My friends, what you're in here to do is, I'm just here to tell you, like, when you go through this with me, I don't know where expensive is, okay? Everybody's going to tell you expensive is over here at $2, okay? That's what everyone's going to tell you. Everyone's going to tell you, don't worry, we're going to expect $2. I don't know, man. All I can tell you is I hunt cheap prices. That's it. I don't know where expensive will be. I have no targets. I have a range of stuff, but I don't know. I'm open to anything. I'm looking for euphoria. However, I can just tell you right now, it can stop at 5, it can stop at 25, it can stop anywhere. Now, a lot of people, it can go to 50, it can go to $2. I don't know. Now, a lot of people just say, hey, Richard has a lot of money with the sacrifice funds for Ethereum and he's going to pump it up. I'll say, okay, just let me tell you something. Yes, he injected $20 million into PulseChain and the market still rejected 75% down. So you can try to force the market one way, but if people want to dump on you and exit, you can't actually do anything about it. So friends, I'm going to show you right now, okay, we can focus, for example, on Luna. Can you believe that HEX is down worse than Luna? That's how oversold it is, okay? Now, here's the thing. I got to preface it, friends, because I'm wearing a Bulbasaur hat. Oversold means you're cheap. Oversold means, okay, you have been thrown out. The baby's been thrown out with the bathwater. Way too oversold. I don't know when it's going to return. I don't know when. That's not my game. I don't play that game. My game is just to hunt cheap prices, wait forever. That's it. Okay, Warren Buffett does that. All the greatest investors do that. Guess what? It works in crypto as well. Unless some of these big-time influencers, they get seed ICO allocations, try to start narratives, and they dump on everyone, okay? We don't have that power. You and I, we are outsiders together. So Luna victims are down less than HEX victims, even after the enormous minus 99% collapse. And I know, friends, a lot of people don't believe me. It's actually true. So why don't I even use the word victim? Some people might say, hey, man, why do you say Luna victims and HEX victims? I'll say, well, look, man, if you believe someone who lost 98% of their money in Luna, which is what they did, they got an airdrop, by the way. There's 2 Lunas here. They got an airdrop. If you think minus 98% makes you a victim, well, what do you think minus 98.4% makes you? You're even worse, okay? That's pretty much what it comes down to here. So here is the evidence to show you. If you add up Luna's market cap valuation here, it is like 1.1 billion. And I was even lenient. I didn't even add up the Luna UST. Luna UST still retained some value, 98% down, right? But then you have the drop from total HEX here. The bottom, you're only around 800 million market cap. If you only include pHEX, you're at 720 million market cap. So that's pretty much just showing you, wow, Luna's worth more than HEX. Now, once again, friends, for the 10th time, I got to tell you, oversold means you're cheap. That's right. I don't think the market price should be doing that. I think that the market is pretty much, it's pricing in a Richard Hart loss. It doesn't believe that Ethereum is ever going to rise again, because that's right, the sacrifice funds are in Ethereum. It's not look, friends, the thing is, the market's smarter than you and me. We are leverage on Ethereum. So Ethereum has been bleeding out of the behind, ETH BTC going down. Guess what? We bleed even harder. You see what I mean? And if Ethereum recovers, hopefully, you don't know, if Ethereum recovers, guess what? We might pump harder. People start pricing in a victory. Do you see? That's the whole point. So I think the market is overreacting. And I've gone through the valuations here. Total Luna, 1.1 billion. Total HEX, 0.8. Should HEX be down 28% below Luna? I don't think so. That's just me. So, and I've also mentioned, right, it's funny, the pHEX maxis, they kind of imply that they want eHEX to be deleted. They go, you're at the wheel one, you don't exist anymore. Okay, well, it makes the valuation even worse. It makes you even more of a victim. Okay, if you just pretend that didn't happen. Okay, but it is what it is. It's just, I'm playing around here. Okay, so just chill out. Now, this is good for relative value assessment. All right. Now, remember, tell me, friends, I don't care. I'm not here. It's funny, friends. I don't do anything to be popular. I don't care. Do you understand? This is how I see things. I go, oh, wow, blood, turmoil, destruction. There's even more and more and more. Okay, sweet. I think the bouncy ball is probably going to swoop up higher when it's time to go. That's why, sweet. You got to pay more attention. Pay more attention. We already loaded up, by the way, on the leverage on HEX, right? And also, we've got eHEX as well. So that's another thing to think about. Okay, a lot of people have thrown out, well, eHEX, maybe you're worth 0. I don't think so, man. So this is the eHEX price chart. Yeah, it's basically near 0, 99 point whatever 4%, but I'm using the pulse ratio pricing. I like that. Even if it goes down more, I will accumulate. So let's continue, right? It's showing you, right, if you add up Pulse, PulseChain, and Inc valuations, then the dilution effect explains it. So there's new people out there that go, how does this even happen? Well, that's how it happens, okay? The same people are here. We haven't adopted anywhere near as what was expected, pretty much. And what's happened is that Pulse and PulseChain are the winners. And you can see that by the ratios. Now, the whole cycle's not done yet, but this is the pHEX to Pulse ratio. You can see pHEX has been weak against Pulse. And if you invert the pair, now Pulse is on top. As you can see, Pulse, it went down, risk off, and then up, risk on. You can see that. So as we've gone, risk on. Now, I don't know how long this lasts for, friends. Remember, Richard's in control, pretty much. That's it. If Richard wakes up one day and he says, guess what? You know that $600 million sacrifice fund? Well, I'm happy to blow $100 million of that right now just to prove a point and force pHEX in one way and piss off everybody. He could just do that. We don't know. It's outside of our control, okay? But I'm just showing you what's possible. However, I mean, you can't deny this, right? When left up to natural market forces, people are gravitating towards Pulse and PulseChain more. Okay, and if you want to know why, what's the psychology behind that? Well, you know, Cycle 1 coins, product market fit, the new Cycle 1 coin advantage in Pulse and PulseChain. HEX is now an identity crisis. You have that as well. It's more of like a DeFi leverage altcoin. And not to mention, Pulse and PulseChain didn't receive the full amount of market cap valuation that they would have. It's just that most of the money was still locked up in HEX stakes. So that's another thing as well. So people couldn't grab their HEX stakes. So they had to rush to do other stuff. However, I think if you let everybody attach their HEX stakes to a value somewhere, I think we would have had bigger valuations for Pulse and PulseChain, and it would have given you a more certain pricing with the sacrifice funds at the time. That's what I think. I'm just guessing. You can never go back in time. But that's what I'm pretty much showing you that, hey, the HEX people were locked up. They're locked up in jail. They could not access the liquidity of the stakes because they had to wait time, right? So basically, everybody gets to escape to the free island in Pulse and PulseChain and start fresh. Whereas everyone thought it was the opposite. Everybody thought that Pulse and PulseChain were going to get destroyed and that HEX was going to be the victorious. No, it turned out that everybody was locked up in HEX. They wanted to access the liquidity that they couldn't. So you're looking at these prices, right? HEX is down way worse than Luna. And now you have to think if it should be down more than Luna. I don't think so. Look, the market's basically saying Do Kwon on his way to jail, it's more bullish than Richard Hart fighting the corrupt SEC. I think that's a complete mismatch. Way mismatch. Not even close. Richard Hart coming out fighting. He has support. People are rocking up to court for him. Who's rocking up with Do Kwon to support him? Okay, so I think the market's just completely wrong about that. Okay, once again, contrarian, friends. This is literally deeply contrarian, okay? But now you got to wonder, right? Is this result that you've seen, obviously, I don't care, like, if it upsets you, it doesn't really, it's a fact, friends. It's a fact. So, was this a product of the bad karma and self-cursing of 2022 under the guise of, oh, just outrage marketing? Dancing on graves dancing on Michael Saylor, all this leverage, all this talk about we're going to be victorious, Bitcoin 10K. Was it a self-curse or bad karma? I don't know. You tell me. Okay. So what about, is it the idea? Was it the idea of HEX ID, right? Handing out inflation and saying, well, just because you waited, it's worth a lot more. Okay. That was the whole theory about their friends. But just like, it's kind of like makes you think now in a different light. You're like, wait a minute. If I just make you wait 10 years for something, does it make it more valuable than if I just made you wait 1 year? Does it make it more valuable if I just made you 1 day? Okay. Theoretically, it should, but it's all up to the market, right? The market doesn't really start to value this long-term stuff. They're buying meme coins and AI and new stuff all the time. Okay, that's the most important part when it comes to this. So what's actually important, right? You get to see this, right? Richard Hart, so he says, I'm saving the victims, Celsius, FTX, Luna. And yeah, we did, of course, good principles. However, it doesn't look good for optics when Celsius and FTX people, so if you go back to October of 2022, okay, a month before the FTX collapse, okay, HEX was sitting around 3 cents or whenever before, okay? Can you believe it? HEX is down so low, the market's basically saying you were better off buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and giving it to Celsius and FTX and losing all your money. You're actually better off there because HEX from that point is down 67% and you get back, and today you get back your Bitcoin at 17,000 and Ethereum at 1,200. Isn't that crazy how undervalued it is? Like, you're like, wow. It's that shit, the price? Really? That's deeply, deeply oversold, man. And here I am just to tell you, right? Look at this. The clawback for the FTX customers, right? Look, they get back Bitcoin $17,000. And sure, you miss out on the opportunity cost, but that's crazy. So pretty much people who had money on FTX and Celsius, they're going to get back their money. They are better off. They sell it and they buy HEX. They have more HEX than you, compared to that same dollar amount if you held since the bear market low of 2022. That's pretty much what that's how low the price is. And then you have people like Dick Cherry and stuff just capitulating out that forces these things. So I'm just telling you, friends, this is just the marketplace happening. Don't worry about your opinion or my opinion. It's just that this is what's happened. The market's really, really oversold. We know this, man. Market can go way lower than you could ever expect for a most amount of time. You're never certain of anything, okay? So obviously, I'm very happy that I picked correctly with Pulse and PulseChain. I did not know, though, it was going to be fatal if I picked wrong. That's what spooked everybody, just so everyone knows. Yeah, I did not know that, oh yeah, Pulse and PulseChain. Sweet, friends, I binked that. I thought everything was going to go up together. Not everything gets ravaged in the past 6 to 7 months, okay? So it's been vicious for HEX maxis, like vicious beyond imagination. But there is a strong cult and community there, of course. And I really do feel sorry for everyone in there because watching all this, you got to wrestle with a lot of things. I mean, you even go through some issues where you're like, oh, Simon caused the crash and stuff. Like, I'm like, come on, man. You know, so look at this. Strategy going forward, though, friends. Nothing changes from here, price target wise. So guess what? I priced this in. I priced this in, friends, last year. Around the launch, a lot of people always ask me, why didn't you have long-term HEX stakes? And I said, look, I think it's stupid. Peanut, it's really normal sized brain stuff to commit to a 15-year stake when you know a pivotal pHEX and eHEX moment of creation is going to happen. I think you should react to it accordingly afterwards. So I waited. I'm glad I did because then I just I saw the value dilution effect. I was like, okay, I wasn't planning for this part. That sounds like the biggest scam of all. Now I'm just being honest. Like, lock your money up 15 years compared to what happened. You're like, oh man, that sucks. Okay, so. Obviously, it's not, friend, but just telling you, it feels like it. It just feels like, well, I'm not going to give that up because clearly the purchasing power loss and everything else has to be a big redemption arc, and the probabilities of that get more extreme. Now, I priced all of it in. Remember, I priced all of it in. What does price all of it in mean? It means that I don't think it's healthy to rely on a $2 pHEX, for example. I don't think that's healthy. I hope it's possible. I just think, hey, man, if you need $2 HEX to retire, I think you're playing a dangerous game, personally. I think when people tell me, hey, man, I'm happy with 20 cents, I'm like, you know what? You're probably going to make it. Right, I hope it goes to 2 HEX. I hope Richard just smashes it up over time, and I hope the paper hands like Dick Cherry are all out. And I hope Rector Michelle doesn't dump us into oblivion as Richard inserts and dumps. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm just telling you, though, relying on a $2 pHEX and all these other numbers, I don't do that, friends. Just like I don't want to rely on 300x in that. That's why we put in more effort, okay, into this game. So you, my friends, you've already watching my channel, all of you out in the Telegram, baby doll world, friendship cult with straight backs and fluffy slippers, you have to take PulseChain altcoins more seriously. You have to take lottery tickets more seriously. This is it, man. I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this, okay? Now, we're already in lottery tickets, subcultures, all these altcoins, fans. You know that, right? I always chart the ratio against Pulse. You know, Pulse is cheap against ETH. Same thing. So, I've thrown you many examples, right? PDI, Teddy Bear, Chopa, Tangang, Dick with Bart, you know, HOA, all of these, friends. It's beautiful that, firstly, you get to look at it for free, charge you nothing, mind you. So, I don't really care. Anyone listens or not, who cares, right? I don't care, friends. I am literally the anti-popular, you understand? Anti-consensus. I am fading the crowd, you understand it? And when I win, friends, I don't come out and tell you, oh, look at this token that's going up and now you can't get in, you can't get it. I can't do that. I just report to you once. Okay, sweet, I'm still holding. Anyway, let's go look for other blood out there. That's what I do. Just keep hunting cheap prices, hunting cheap prices. So that's why I've spent a lot of time just showing you, right? HEX, way too oversold, friends. And like, can you believe it? Like, just think about the extreme things you're seeing now. You're basically saying you've lost more money in HEX than keeping funds on FTX, keeping funds on Celsius, and holding Luna because of its airdrop. So it tells you something, man. You're like, hey, should you be down here? You shouldn't be down here. But look, friends, I know. It just takes a long... The market can be underpriced for like a day. It can be underpriced for a week or a month. Or, as we've seen, HEX, man, it's still going in a bear market, made new bear market lows, mind you. Yes, it made a new cycle bear market low in HEX from 2022. Its bottom was 1.6 cents for normal eHEX, and now with the combined price, it hits 1 cent. Crazy, man. It's dropped like about 33 to 40%, like 60% down. Crazy, man. Actually hit lower. That's nuts. So, but yeah, so like I said, friends, I know the crowd, when I say that, just getting more used to you guys. When you guys think of red candles, you think bad, 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 down and down. And I'm thinking cheap, 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 cheap. That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, it sucks. So which was going up. And when I talk about green candles going up, friends, when I see people going, oh, you got to get into this. This is a 40x. You guys think that's like the second a cure for cancer. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm about to get scammed if I touch that. I'm not touching that. I'll wait for you guys to rinse out. Okay, every single time. I'm trying to teach you how to win in this game, okay? And I've got to play some nice pump music because maybe there is a pump waiting for us at the end of the day, okay? So, HEX being down 67% from its Q4 2022 price. How does that make you feel? Yeah, it sucks, right? Counting the eHEX and pHEX valuation. Now, what I'm going to do is, friends, just show you you can look at the HEX BTC chart, which is it right here, okay? You can have a look at it now, down 98.5%. This is the combined price, by the way. That's not eHEX, that's both of them together, okay? So, yeah, look, I don't think the next cycle, we're not going to drop this much as hard because you're not going to have a PulseChain launch dilution effect and you're not going to have an extreme pump like you have now because you're going from high market cap to try to get higher market cap. I don't know, everybody wants to pretend like market cap doesn't exist, but I wonder if you think about that now because look how easy Tangang and PDI float up when they're small compared to the thick liquidity and market cap required in HEX, okay? And also the cycle 1, cycle 2 nature of these coins. So it's a 61x for HEX to go back to its all-time high. Wouldn't it be great if it actually could have got there? But yeah, I mean, like, it's funny. Look, you can't really... I'm remembering, fans. I know it sounds great. Oh, 61x, but yeah, we're talking about it when HEX was 5 cents. So 10x to back to the all-time high. Now it's 61x, which means you got crushed hard. Is the market right? Or is it undervalued? But yeah, man, I think it's crazy, friends. I don't know, is this a self-curse? Is it some sort of karma for everybody in it? It's just wild to think of Richard Hart going around warning everyone of Celsius, FTX, and Luna when your own coin went worse. Right, that's pretty much the main lesson of this. And I hope you take away that from the future because both things can be true, okay? Someone can have something that's not going to be the best thing to invest in at that time, and they can also be right about their wisdom and their teachings, right? Because it's all about the market forces at play, friends. If you buy with euphoria, it doesn't matter what you're in. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter if it cures cancer itself. It doesn't matter if you can turn unsqueaky chairs and give him a squeak. Something as magical, fairy dust unicorn as that creation. It doesn't matter. If you buy high, that's it, you're wrecked. And here's the thing, friends. On the contrary, because I know, yeah, let's shit on everything. No. If you buy low, it doesn't matter what the scam is. There's a good chance it can come back. Now, obviously, people will go look at dead projects and stuff here and there. No. If you go buy low and there are people still tagging it and mentioning it, and like your friend Somi here is still making videos about it, is it really dead then? No, the price is just really, really, really low. Now, of course, friends, I just want to tell you something. I've got to tell you the umbrella for all of this, okay, is, look, just because I know, okay, I know you're cheap and you've been cheap for a long time and you've been ravaged and all the narratives about bear market hedge and T-shares and Nobel Prize and all these junk, all of them junk, throw them out. Doesn't matter, okay? Cheap prices are cheap prices. But I don't know what expensive will be. That's the catch, okay? I don't know what expensive will be, and I'll never promise to tell you I know what expensive is. I don't know. I just know that cheap prices are cheap prices. Keep DCAing, whatever. I know most of you are already in already. So most people just tell you, don't worry, we're not going to get euphoric until $2, which is expensive. Okay, I don't know, man. I can see a lot of liquid sharks with 40 million pHEX. I think they like that 10-cent round number. I think they like that 20-cent round number. 30 cents, right? I don't know how much time we have left in the bull market. I hope everything just starts now. You know, yay, Bitcoin halving in 12 months. I hope so. Okay, I hope so, friends. But I don't know, and I'll never know. I just know that, on average, if you hunt cheap prices, you do well. Just like, friends, if you're a boxer, on average, if you try to hit when he drops his guard, you're going to do better. That's it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you necessarily win every fight. It doesn't mean you necessarily clear out every tournament. It doesn't mean anything. However, it just means, on average, that's the right thing to do. The right thing to do in markets is to buy low, sell high. That's the famous 100-year-old plus stock market saying. Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, the late Charlie Munger, and everyone else. That's it. You got to buy her. Buying high to sell high, not good. Also, holding through euphoria is the equivalent as buying high, just so you know, okay? Holding through these periods is equivalent of buying low, just to let you know. So what are we ultimately waiting for? Okay, well, once again, just guessing, Pokemon hat, friends. I mean, it's a Bulbasaur hat, for God's sake. Okay. HEX should be leverage on Ethereum. So I mentioned to you, if you take one thing from me, just know that it doesn't matter. Look, friends, it doesn't matter the price and stuff here and there. I'm looking at ETH BTC. Ethereum has been bleeding against Bitcoin minus 45% for 900 days. Okay, so that to me explains HEX's price action. See, HEX has got decimated in this time. Sweet. Well, I'm now wondering what happens to PulseChain, PulseChain, HEX, and Inc. and eHEX if this chart does this. Okay. What happens when Ethereum gets ETF? What happens when Mt. Gox want to dump the Bitcoin and then they all start FOMO buying poop coins and other stuff, right? That comes out later this year. What happens in that scenario? So I'm always thinking ahead. And if you want leverage on the ecosystem, there's another thing, guys. I can't believe I give all this for free. I literally can't. So if you want leverage on HEX, you have Icosa here. I've made videos about it. Friends, look at it. It's back in the buy zone. It's deep. Okay, look at this. This is so cheap. It's at a value of 9.5. The ceiling is like 55. So from 9 to 50, that's a 5x on HEX. Okay, 5, but it's not 5x on USD. 5x on HEX. So if you think HEX can do a 20 banger from here, that's 100x. Because you got to think about that world. If Richard resurrects HEX like a phoenix from the ashes, shout out to Icarus baby dolls out there. Okay, Icarus they say. But if he resurrects it, maybe he does like ignite everybody's passion for staking and playing around with this type of stuff, right? The community, because there is still a passionate community to do that. It's just there's always a community that keep it around, but everyone cares about the growth rate, so everyone cares about it, okay? So obviously Icosa is on PulseChain, and there is an eIcosa, there's a pIcosa. Probably don't worry too much about it. They're all so ridiculously low. Like just getting ICSA Icosa. You can get Hedron if you want, but just sticking with those. That's probably most important. Because you have advantages out here just seeing these ratios, friends. I mean, this is eHEX as another example. Should it be down this much? That's what I'm thinking about. Should it be down that much? I don't think so. Remember, a lot of people, they value eHEX compared to pHEX. They look at that ratio. I used to look at that ratio too, but I've now come to realize you shouldn't look at that ratio. That's useless. eHEX is valued based off Pulse. Pulse is the spear. Pulse is the big daddy. If you enrich Pulse, you enrich the whole ecosystem. If you enrich pHEX, you just enrich a few pHEX maxis. Okay, but a lot of new people coming in, they don't have much exposure to it. Richard knows his friends. I'm sure he can see a lot of, he knows his network inside and out. Okay, so now that you've seen all this, okay, there's two perspectives. Yes, there is the perspective of, man, this has been an utter colossal failure. Sure, okay, that sucks. Then there is the next perspective of, all right, ETH BTC kept going down. It kept bleeding. I told you it's Bitcoin halving year. We should go up, okay? Every time Bitcoin halving year magic. But ETH BTC hasn't gone up yet. But the whole year's not done yet. I'm not giving up. That's why I still stay in it, right? Is there a point where I get out? Look, the thing is, a lot of people ask this as well. Once you start thinking about, oh, where am I going to be wrong and stuff? I don't have a price, but I know if I see, that's what I'm looking for, market-wide euphoria. If I see market-wide euphoria, I just accept whatever the price is. Okay, they even pumped up EOS at the very, very end of 2021, by the way. So, yeah, man, there's a risk with everything, friends. There's a risk that this never, ever pumps up ever again or whatever. But you just got to think, what are the chances of that? See, the beautiful part of seeing the sacrifice funds in ETH, I don't just tell you, oh, we're leveraged on Ethereum, like spiritually, because it's actually true. But now I actually show you, you know that yourself, oh, wow, okay, if money in Ethereum gets inserted, the value of the PulseChain sacrifice treasury goes up, Richard probably deploys it, and then you have the net result of a repricing up higher. Maybe it tries to ignite some sort of season. Maybe at the fence, you don't know. There could be a Richard Hart alt season at the very end. There could be, man. There could be something where everybody at the end has made money in all these other chains and all these other grips and looking for airdrops and all this stuff, and everyone just catches, oh my God, this guy's got $1.8 billion and he's going to insert it into his own freaking chain. I better get in and buy every single thing I can. And that could happen to our advantage at the very, 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 very end. So it makes it nice if that happens out there. Why? Because you're making money in all these other places. You're rotating your profits in, stacking the core while everyone thinks PulseChain's never going to move. And then he does it at the end. But then again, I also made a recent video to show you he could do the strategy differently. So he might not rotate all the money in. He might do it more periodic to get the floor higher naturally. That's what we don't know. That's why friend, this is, I'm just going to have to trust that, hey, it's a captain's call decision. I'm not going to criticize him. I'll never say, oh, you should have put in all the money or you should have done this. I don't know, man. He's the billionaire, not me. Okay, so now you've seen all this. You've seen all the story. You don't roll over and die, man. You don't roll over and die. So you got to decide for yourself, right? I still like leverage, man. eHEX is leverage on it. pHEX USD is cheap. I mean, they're all freaking cheap, but they kept getting cheaper. There's cycle 2 coins though. Okay, so I know a lot of you as well. You find, hey, why? We're cycle 2 coin. That's it. And you think, people said to me, hey, but PulseChain and PulseX are cycle 1 coins. Okay, yeah, but they're cycle 2 narratives. You understand? PulseChain, alternative layer 1. Basically, you're a cheaper Ethereum. Okay, there's 50 of you. You were new as an ID back in 2021. You are no longer new. You're cycle number 2. PulseX, you're a DEX. You're cycle number 2. HEX, you are leverage DeFi Ponzi yield type of stuff like Olympus, DAO, Luna, whatever, that type of stuff. Okay, you're cycle number 2. You're DeFi. Cycle number 2, 2, 2. Okay. Cycle number 2 had nothing to do with Solana season, Coinbase season, had nothing to do with AI coins, DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, Bitcoin, DeFi, also in its first cycle. Nothing to do with them. Historically, though, you do get your gracious glory pump. It's just not anywhere near what it's like when it was in cycle 1. Nowhere near. But it's good enough. It's good enough, okay? So here's the thing, man. In the next few months, if the current narratives, everyone's buying AI and Solana stuff, if they roll over and die, you're going to feel pretty good. You're like, well, at least my stuff hasn't pumped yet. I know it's not over yet. There's more to come. Okay, but I'll be writing that of you later. So you learned a lot today. What do you think, friends? Hearing all this information, of course, I'm not here to say, oh, get more bullish, get more. I don't know, man. All I just know is the prices are cheap. I don't know where expensive is though. That's it. I can't promise you anything. I can tell you, I hope it goes above 30 cents. I hope it goes to 50 cents. I hope he smacks it up and just absolutely murders it. I hope he does that. That's just hope and cope. I don't know. Theoretically, man, he can get it to some point and big whales are like, you know what? Smack. They can do that. You don't know, okay? Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Tell mom and dad you love them. Catch you soon.